Hey guys, Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. We want to thank you so much for all the support you've given us here on the network. And if you want to see what we're up to outside of the station, please follow us all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can follow the good brother Alex Mercado on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. The lovely Nicole Mancha is on all social media platforms at Typing When Tipsy. You can follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Our pop culture show, The Good Brothers, on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Our true crime shows on Instagram at Murder, Mysteries, and More. And of course, like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all our videos on YouTube.com/Mike Mercado 2333 or by searching Mercado Airwaves Network. We play video games on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. And of course, you can support our network by finding a tier just for you, whether you want early access, you want to be part of polls, you want to win contest prizes, by visiting us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And we really appreciate it wherever you get your favorite podcast. So like, rate, review, and share us. And please spread the word. For the good brother, Alex Mercado, for the lovely Nicole Mancha, I'm Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for all the support you've given us here on the network. Welcome in, friends, to the best damn pop culture podcast in the universe, in the galaxy, in Chicago, in the multiverse, in the Spider-Verse, in the Speed Force. It's the Good Brothers Quarantine Files here on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, with the one, the only, the good brother himself, Alex Mercado. What's going on, good brother?
How's it going, man?
Everything appears to be everything, good brother, and we are here to talk about some of our favorite things when it comes to pop culture and sports. Good brother, it's been a busy, let's just say, few days for us here on the network. We've been talking about the WWE firings. We've been talking about The Last Dance Part 1 and Part 2. So we decided to kind of keep the train going when it comes to sports. Good brother, what do we have in store for the folks today?
We're going to keep it a little light, and on the sports end, we're going to do our 5 favorite jerseys. Any sort of team, any sort of sport, your 5 favorite jerseys. Mike, what do you expect from this list?
Good brother, it's really funny because you and I have very distinct tastes when it comes to sports. I think there might be trends. That's what I'm looking forward to see. You and I haven't seen each other's lists when we made this one up. I want to see what the trend is. I want to see if we lean maybe one type of color pattern, if maybe we go one type of sport, maybe we go into one type of era where those sports jerseys were at their height. I really want to know where we land. That's an interesting question. Where do you think we're going to end up in this list?
I think we'll have one or two that are similar or in the same ballpark at least. We do have very different styles, so I think I'm trying to see on my list just as of now, like what kind of style jerseys I have. I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of football. I think football jerseys are my least favorite to wear going out or in general. I don't know how you feel about like specific sport jerseys.
I'm the same way. I'm honestly not the biggest jersey wear to begin with. I think there has to be a little fashion to it. I think there has to be a little bit of a statement to it. I definitely think your body kind of has to go with it. And I'm not one to talk about body shaming or, talking about what looks good. But I think some jerseys, more tight-fitting jerseys look better on certain people. So I think it's a very delicate thing when you're talking about jerseys for the common person. I think it's a little bit different when you're talking about how a jersey looks on an athlete or it looks on television, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely am more in a style of I like tighter jerseys. That's kind of why football jerseys are my least favorite. They're a little too baggy and loose. One team does make my list, and I think even that team and style is very different than what you would be used to.
Well, with that in mind, good brother, why don't we go ahead and give our top 5 jerseys here on the Quarantine Files, brought to you by the Good Brothers here on the Mercado Airwaves Network. Good brother, I will start us off. And at number 5 on my top 5 jerseys, I have the LA Chargers powdered blue white helmets. First of all, I think their powder blue pops on the television beautifully, especially when you're looking on the football field. It looks really nice. I think the white jerseys with the lightning bolt that's yellow just looks fantastic. And when you look at somebody like LaDainian Tomlinson, somebody who was one of the great running backs when I was growing up, whenever he would wear those powder blue, baby blue LA Charger jerseys, and he would have that cool visor on, it just looked awesome. It almost looked like a futuristic jersey, but yet it's still somewhat of a throwback classic. I think the LA Chargers powder blue white helmet is one of the best jerseys in all of professional sports. That's why I have it at number 5. What do you think, good brother?
Yeah, I like them, and I think it's interesting that you're mentioning more of a uniform style. and I think I'm thinking more just straight up jerseys because I think I'm with you. There's a lot of really fun NFL uniforms. I think if I was just thinking that, I would pick more NFL teams. I think I'm more picking a jersey I would like to wear. But I'm with you. I think the Chargers have some of the coolest color patterns, so I would definitely rock a Chargers jersey.
Who do you have rocking at number 5, good brother?
My number 5 was actually the '90s USA basketball jerseys, the white ones with the blue lettering. I love those jerseys. Obviously, the famous picture of all of our favorite '90s NBA players. We just did a huge thing on Sports with the Couch for the Bulls. So I love that. And if I had to pick a number, obviously, I'd pick a number 8 or number 9. But yeah, I love those Olympic style jerseys in general, but the basketball always come out really crisp.
Now, are you personally a fan of the white or the blue one?
I like the white one.
Now, does it make that big of a difference, though? Like, let me ask you this. If we were ranking them as jerseys, is one thing. But, when I mentioned the LA Chargers powder blue as my number 5, I was very specific about that one because their other jerseys are nice, the white ones or even the very dark blue ones. But that specific jersey, I think, is top tier. In your opinion, is the USA the Dream Team version of it, is it one of those where the white one is so much more superior than the blue one?
I personally think so. And as an athlete, my coach always taught me white was a crisp, clean color. It was definitely one of those jersey colors. Like that's the first place team usually. Like that's the stigma. Is like that's the powerful team. So I've always been a fan of white jerseys. Honestly, trust me. There's going to be jerseys on this list that aren't necessarily white, but I think when it comes down to it, it's a little crisper. And in the USA jersey, it's definitely my number 1 of those two.
I like how we're starting off at number 4, good brother. I have the Chicago Bulls red jersey. Whether it was the BULLS or with the Chicago cursive, you talk about on that hardwood floor with that big bull in the middle of the court and Michael Jordan just rocking it. In the NBA, there are 3 very classic jerseys. The LA Lakers yellow, the Boston Celtics green, and the Chicago Bulls red. And to me, obviously, as a homer here in the greatest city in the world, Chicago, I think it just it's a powerful color. It's not very showy, and it's not very plain. I think if you're talking about the Lakers, which are very beautiful jerseys, but if we're looking to critique them and to sell why the Bulls would be number 4, to me, the Lakers, it's very flashy. It's very LA. Even though this is a team that came from Minnesota, I still think it very pops. The gold and the purple and the Staples Center and the old LA Forum. It definitely is showtime. Boston is a very classic, almost very bland, but very clean, green and white. But the Chicago Bulls hard red and that hard black lettering and those white, that perfect white indentation with the numbers. I mean, it is one of the perfect jerseys in all of sports, and I think it's so TV friendly. You can see the name on the back of their jersey. You can see the number clearly. There's not a lot going on. It's cool to wear at barbecues. It's cool to wear at parties. It's cool to wear at the game. It goes with a lot of different styles of shoes, and it goes with almost every pair of jeans you can own. I think at number 4, the Chicago Bulls red is top tier Mount Rushmore jerseys.
I completely agree with you, and I'm going to save my final thoughts on that because it actually made my list a little higher.
Very good. So then who was your number 4, good brother?
Now, this one I think you'll find interesting because I have been openly, I'm not a big hockey fan in general, but I love hockey jerseys. And in cheer, when you do your warm-ups, we tend to do hockey jerseys or basketball jerseys. There's something, the difference between a football and a hockey when you have those long sleeves and they're extra big on purpose. I love that. So I only had to pick one, and I love the Blackhawks. I always support a Chicago team no matter what. But I got to give it to the Mighty Ducks, or the Anaheim Ducks in this situation, just from the movie The Mighty Ducks, just from the logo of the duck, from the superhero cartoon show we had in the 90s. Every kid has always wanted to be a duck, so that would be my pick right there. The only hockey team I have, and it would be the Anaheim Ducks classic movie one.
So not necessarily the Anaheim Ducks, the Ducks right now with the actual black jerseys with the little duck fin foot thing that it has. You're talking about the 1994 version that we see in D2, the Mighty Ducks.
Yep.
And it's very Disney-fied, too. Like, that is the one thing about that jersey. It's very 90s.
Love it.
That is very cool, though. I definitely do think that's a good one. So that's a very fun one to have on your list.
How do you feel about hockey jerseys?
I'll mention it later on in one of my picks because hockey jersey definitely makes an appearance on my top 5. I think the big thing about a hockey sweater for all you purists out there, it's the logos are up front and center. Huge. All other sports, the jerseys are really cool. You can see the teams. Some are able to get their logo in there, but the NHL sweater, the hockey sweater, is the only one that embraces its symbol. It's embroidering, like it wears its patch with an honor on it. And then we see those C's and those A's for the captains and the alternates. It means more. And there's just this cool nuance to a hockey sweater. There's almost a purity to it, and it's never really changed. And I think that's why, too. And then we're also spoiled in Chicago. It's a great jersey, but we'll get into that in just a little while. But that's kind of my thoughts on hockey jerseys. That's a good one at number 4, good brother. I bring us in. At number 3, we go back to the gridiron. Because at number 3, I have formerly known as the Oakland Raiders, now known as the Las Vegas Raiders. Good brother. I mean, what else?
Wait, hold on. That's also my number 3.
No kidding. All right, so let's gush a little bit about the silver and black. I think, honestly, it's the silver and black. It looks freaking cool. Like, if anything else, this is one of those jerseys where I feel if you were to ever wear it as an athlete, as somebody who's played football, you feel like a badass. You feel like a badass in general when you're playing football, but that's the one jersey in the NFL where you get this little boost if you're playing a video game where you're like, your badassery goes up tenfold. And that Oakland silver with the Raider black and that solid black with those numbers, those crisp silver pants, it's one of the most coolest, badass looking jerseys in all of sports, and that's why I had it at number 3. Why did you have it at number 3, good brother?
Basically everything you said. One, it's black, and I think that hard black looks good in a football jersey. It's a better fit. The silver does huge things for the way it just pops, and the history. It's hard to ignore the history that goes behind it, kind of like the Bulls jersey, where it's so known, it's so accessible. And maybe that's an easy pick, but it's definitely a popular pick for a reason. And that's why it's my number 3.
Good brother, I'm going to stay at the Bay because at number 2 in my top 5 jerseys, I have the San Francisco 49ers. And again, It goes to the poppy red. That red looks gorgeous right on top of the green field. And if you look like at a team at Arizona, it looks kind of weird. It looks like a very, animated red. The San Francisco red with that gold helmet and that perfect white trimming looks timeless. Watch videos from Joe Montana. Then watch videos of Steve Young. Then watch videos of Colin Kaepernick. Now watch videos of Jimmy Garoppolo. That looks like football. That looks like professionalism. They're so clean. Yet they have this aura to them. It's a shield. It's a knight. It's royalty. And I think there's something classy about it. Like if you look at the Dallas Cowboys, for example, it's a very in-your-face type of jersey and logo. San Francisco is too, but in a much more subtle way. The gold is strong, but it's not necessarily yellow like Green Bay. It's a nice tone of a gold. And it kind of matches with San Francisco. It kind of matches with the bridge. It goes with the 49er Gold Rush. I think it's a capsule of what it stands for. And I think it pops so much as a jersey. That's why I have it at number 2.
Very interesting. I don't have any more football jerseys on my list. And I said at the end, those were my least favorite. If I had to pick another one, I think it would have been the Cowboys, their modern blue ones. But, my number 2, it's a comeback from what we were talking about earlier with the red cursive Chicago Bulls jersey. And on top of everything you said, I think it comes down to it's just red is such a good color. I got lucky. My college colors were red and black, so I got to wear a Bulls tank top underneath my uniform. Those are my favorite colors, so it kind of more is a personal pick. But I think it goes to what you said of it's a classic jersey and everyone knows what it is. And it being accessible makes it so popular.
And one thing that I'm noticing about this list is championships and legacy matter. I think you have a lot of organizations that like to switch them around. And, somebody like Seattle, the Seahawks, or you see like, let's say the Oregon Ducks for college, their jerseys are always switching. And you really can't fall in love with anything because they're trying to be new with the trend. And I get that. You want people to buy these jerseys. But I think there's something to, a club having these are our jerseys. Sometimes we do things special, but at the end of the day, this is how we signify it. I know the old adage, just an old Seinfeld joke, I think, that says we're really just rooting for laundry, but that's true. And you want that laundry to look good. So I think a lot of things is when you win, it looks a lot better. You know, if you look at somebody like the Toronto Raptors, at any point, do you think a team that had purple and black and not the Baltimore Ravens with a big dinosaur as their logo would be kind of encapitalized as a legacy now because they're champions? So forever in history, those jerseys that they wore will be part of the history of the NBA. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
And it's interesting you mentioned that college jerseys are so weird in the sense of there's a lot of fun, cool college jerseys, and I think they're a little more there's so much more variety. But then, like you said, winning matters because you go back to the Michigan Classic, the Notre Dame, Ohio State, the Texas, the USC, like those classic jerseys we're so used to. Look at Alabama. It's been the same exact jersey, and they're one of the most popular. So it's funny that you mentioned that. Like, it is important. Like, you could have the coolest jerseys. Look at the Texans or, there's teams like that have such cool jerseys. Oregon, you mentioned. But we don't talk about those jerseys as much as we talk about a classic Texas Longhorns jersey or even Notre Dame.
And the NBA is guilty of it, but it's also much more of a hip sport where people are much more involved. It's an easier jersey to wear. It's much more fashionable, so they're able to make more lines of it. But I definitely think it hurts sometimes the flow of it. I think sometimes there's so many beautiful jerseys in the NBA, and I also think there's a lot of cool modern day jerseys. I love what the Miami Heat have done where they still have like their black ones and their white ones and those red ones. But I love that they're doing kind of the Miami Vice ones, those whites and those like blue, those turquoise blue. And I think it's cool because it kind of fits with the city. And there's something, that's why I really enjoy things that kind of match the entire atmosphere that it kind of represents, And I think basketball kind of loses that because there's only so much real estate in a basketball jersey.
Yeah, no, I personally love basketball jerseys. Those are my favorite. It's not going to be my number one for a personal reason, but majority of my jerseys that I can think about, like a nice North Carolina college one, is basketball jerseys. And for me, I do love the sleeveless aspect, and I agree that it's the easiest to match with a nice pair of jeans. It's the most easily wearable one. To me personally, I know football jerseys and baseball jerseys are up there, but I would definitely go basketball and baseball are more my style jerseys than a football is.
Well, good brother, at number one, I have the Chicago Blackhawks. To me, it comes down to the logo is one of the best logos in all sports. It's one of those rarities where, at least coming from my opinion, from the people I've spoken with, and I understand the sensitivity when you talk about teams like the Washington Slurs, and you talk about the Cleveland Indians, and about a bunch of different teams, right, when it comes to Native Americans.
Yeah.
I think the Chicago Blackhawks are one of the only teams in sports that does justice and doesn't do a mockery of Native American indigenous people. And it's a strong logo. It's a timeless logo. The numbers, those white numbers, pop with that red on that white, icy rink. It's just a beautiful jersey. It's a beautiful sweater. Whether it's the black one, whether it's the red one, whether it's the white one, it's the best jersey in all of hockey. Right there, if I will argue with people between the Blackhawks and the Detroit Red Wings. Those are two of the most beautiful jerseys, but I think the Blackhawks have a cooler aspect to them. And to me, it's number one. I mean, it's historic. It looks great. And again, it pops. It's one of these jerseys that pops, but still isn't too busy. That's why I have it at number one.
I agree with you. I didn't pick them number one, obviously, because I'm not a huge hockey fan, but I do think the Blackhawks have some of the most crisp jerseys in the NHL. The only reason I didn't pick them is because I picked the Mighty Ducks from the movies. But yeah, I agree with you. I think they're one of the more respectful organizations when it comes to the logo. I personally don't see it necessary to have those logos in general, but if I understand where these sports legacies come from and the fight for it, and I think they handle it very well.
So who did you have at number one, good brother?
I think no surprise. I have a nice classic white pinstripe Chicago Cubs jersey. I think it is the nicest, most classic jersey in the MLB right now. Obviously, I'm biased, and I'm a huge fan, and this was my first jersey. It's, I think, a jersey that looks good on everyone. Just its nice, classic style. There's something so simple about it, but it pops so much, and those colors and the red and the blues and nice now the little World Series pennant right there on the sleeve. I guess it's more of a bias pick, but I'm so shocked you didn't have any Cubs jerseys on your number fives.
I absolutely adore the Cubs jersey. We could do a top 5 Cubs jersey list anytime you want. I think baseball jerseys are really cool, but if we're talking about best, coolest, dopest, most intriguing that pop out most jerseys. I don't think there's a lot of baseball jerseys that do that. I think a lot of them look the same. I mean, the Yankee pinstripes, the Cub pinstripes. There's a lot of teams that the Dodgers whites with the red letterings and
The Red Sox.
the
White.
Red Sox. I think there's a lot of cool ones. I think the Oakland A's have amazing jerseys, but a lot of baseball jerseys are the same because they all have the same gray jersey, the gray road jersey, I don't think there's a lot of uniqueness in Major League Baseball. I think everybody has their favorite because it's a regional thing. But if we're comparing like the Chicago Cubs, which I think are phenomenal jerseys, but trying to compare it to like the Oakland Raiders and those type of ilk of jerseys, I think it's a little bit tougher for me.
I will say this though, for the Cubs not being that successful until the modern era, until the last few years, for them being that bad, they had some of the most popular jerseys still, and I think that speaks to the jersey.
Nowhere near as popular though as the South Side team, which is crazy, and the White Sox.
No, but we were way less successful and a light brighter colors. I think it's easier to rock a black and white and gray, and for the fact that they weren't that good and their colors were so bright and they still sold jerseys is impressive to the Cubs jersey.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is red, white, and blue in America, so it is a friendly colors during the summer. But definitely the Chicago White Sox have some really fresh, nice-looking jerseys, especially for baseball.
I hate them.
How can you hate the black pinstripes?
I think they're plain. Either they're plain or they try too hard. It's one or the other. There's no middle with them. And again, maybe it's a bias thing, but personally, I just think they're ugly jerseys.
That's a hot take. Even I think that's a hot take because I think the White Sox have some of the best jerseys in Major League Baseball.
You're nuts.
Well, with that in mind, good brother, why don't we go ahead and run down our list? At number 5, I had the LA Chargers powdered blue and white helmet. The good brother had
the 1990s USA men's basketball team white jersey.
At number 4, I had the Chicago Bulls red jersey. The good brother had
I had the Disney movie Anaheim Ducks jersey.
At number 3, I have the formerly known as the Las Vegas Oakland Raiders. The good brother had
that times 2.
At number 2, I was still in the Bay. I had the San Francisco 49ers. The good brother had
I had the Red Bulls cursive jersey, number 33.
And at number 1, on my top 5 professional sports jerseys, I had the Chicago Blackhawks. The good brother had
the classic Chicago Cubs pinstripe.
And now that we've run down the list, good brother, I want to give my honorable mentions. I want to give to 2, and we mentioned them. My favorite baseball jerseys are the Chicago Cubs and the Oakland Athletics.
Mine would be a soccer jersey, actually. My only honorable mention beside the Tar Heels college basketball jersey was the Barcelona soccer jersey.
Good call on both of those. The Tar Heel baby blue and Barcelona are beautiful jerseys.
I think soccer jerseys are very underrated. I think they have a bad stigma to them because they're a little tighter and more European style, but there are some gorgeous soccer jerseys out there, and especially when we get to the World Cup, I think we see so many great ones representing their country.
Yeah, I think maybe the problem is in professional global soccer, not necessarily just when it's in world play. There's a lot of sponsorship and a lot of things going on those jerseys, and I think that rubs people the wrong way, which is funny because the NBA is going in that direction right now.
Yeah, no, I kind of interested to see how the NBA turns it out and the way they work around it.
It's going to be fascinating stuff. But good brother, what a fun list. It's always interesting to kind of talk about this where, you never really think about it, but yeah, jerseys are really part of the fashion and the pop culture all of time. It doesn't really matter since sports have been around. People, and they've been selling these jerseys to the public. People rock these things at the beach, at parties, at campus, at work. I mean, jerseys are really part of day-to-day American and a lot of around the world.
Yeah, and especially now that they're making some of these jerseys workout forms. Like, I know I have a few workout jerseys. Obviously, the younger generation with these festivals, like, that's very, much of the guy attire. And in general, I think it's like you said, like they're easily accessible and easily to wear with a lot of stuff. So I definitely enjoy them. I think over the summer, you definitely start seeing a lot more jerseys too.
Do you have a favorite jersey in a sports movie that you could think off the top of your list that you would want to mention?
You know what? Either the USA hockey team from America,
Which would be a real one then.
or yeah, so that's a real one. And then I would say the Mighty Ducks.
Which would be a real one.
Yeah.
Very
Like
interesting.
a fake one? Oh, the Toon Squad.
I was going to say the Toon Squad's and the replacements.
Yeah, I don't love the replace. Like I said, I just don't love football jerseys. They're a little just too bulky for me. They're a little too. I don't like baggy clothes in general. Like it's not really my style. I think you know that. I think that's where you and me different on this list. Where you went very football and hockey heavy, where I went more baseball and basketball heavy. Which is I kind of thought we were going to go that trend anyway.
And we talked about some of the trends that we would be. I also like red. I think red and I like blue, and those are the two colors that came out. I like very strong
same,
colors.
but I think it's because we're Chicago kids.
And I think you and I have a certain style when it comes, like, we're not necessarily, we do wear bright colors, but not as much when it comes to, like, jerseys. I think it's really weird, though, because most teams that we played growing up and heading into later in life, we've been really bright colored teams.
Yeah, and like I said, my college colors were red and black, so that's definitely been a big part. We went to a high school with a green and gold style. Maybe that's your love for the athletics also there, you know?
Oh, and then my middle school was red, black, and white. And
Yep. And our elementary school was red and black.
Yeah, great. So there you go. We were indoctrinated with it. Good brother, what a fun list. What did you think of it?
I love it. And like I said, it's always fun to talk about sports and lists, but get a little turn on it. We're definitely going to return to more media, pop culture based lists, but I think this was a very fun one to keep the Jersey sports talk going. There's actually been a lot of sport news coming on with the Bulls doc and Gronk and the draft coming up, so it's fun.
How has it been joining me on the sports side of the network?
It's definitely interesting. I know the way I have to tackle movies and pop culture is the way you have to tackle sports. So there's so much of it going on. I think now that there's so much time during the day, it's easy to catch up on a lot of stuff. But it's definitely one of those jobs where even when there's something not going on, you have to dig deep to see what's going on. Like I know you talk about the Bulls organization. I have no idea what's going on there, but apparently it's important.
And when it comes to the Bulls, there's always a lot of drama to talk about, even when it's not
exactly
Jerry Krause related. And then the next one, I guess we keep the sports going before we head out, even though, we're here on the Good Brothers, the pop culture side of this. What did you think about Gronk coming out of retirement and going down to Tampa Bay?
It's fun. Gronk's fun. I mean, he's still in the WWE. He's technically one of their champions. Again, what's he really going to do? Gronk's injury prone at this point. I'm not going to pick him up on my fantasy team personally. I'm going to grab O.J. Howard if I'm grabbing a tight end from Tampa Bay.
But with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin in the end zone, they definitely might be something of danger,
Like I said, I think they have good tight ends as is. So this is definitely more of a fun news story more than this is going to be a game changer, personally, I think.
Last one before we head off here from the quarantine file, since we're kind of trying to get things kind of normal back on the Good Brothers portion of this. What do you think about the NFL draft going to be on television, but everything is going to be streamed, everything's going to be online, everything's going to be through conference calls? How do you think this is going to play out as a television thing and a presentation that we're all going to be watching Thursday night for the first round?
I think it'll go well. I think that of all the things going on in sports, this is easily the most doable at-home situation, especially when it's just a draft and we get these home reactions. I think this is going to go really well, and I think it's going to be one of those this will get me through the night.
Now, let me ask you this, though. We did find out that they did a mock draft on Monday, and they were having a lot of technical problems because of people having bandwidth issues and obviously just the internet at home, and when you're not in person, it's a different thing. As a pundit and also as a host, are you rooting for a little bit of a mess? Are you rooting for that on Thursday there's a little bit of a technical issue, that something happens that we'll never forget? Or do you really hope that it kind of just goes smoothly?
I hope it goes smoothly because I'm going to be watching, but I'm definitely interested to see what will go wrong because something has to go wrong.
It's interesting though, right? Like all these people are doing this, but then the WWE's like, hold my beer. We've been doing this forever now.
Exactly. Being essential, man. Got status.
And with Essential, we want to thank all of you because you are essential to this growth of the brand and the love that we have for it. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on the Quarantine Files on The Good Brothers. We really appreciate all the love and support, and hopefully you guys are all being safe and sound, and we're sending you all of our love and support. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. The Good Brother is on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. You guys should check out the podcast network. If you haven't liked, rate, review, or subscribed yet, please do us that huge favor. Visit patreon.com if you can, just to share the word. You guys can see a lot of cool things. But most importantly, we really just want you guys to be safe and let us be a distraction during this time. Just like, rate, review, share us, do all that, and make sure you guys are following us on social media. That way you guys can find out when the Good Brother is joining me on Sports from the Couch, and we try to pretend like we know what we're talking about. But, Good Brother, until then, for the Good Brother himself, Alex Mercado.
Adios.
I'm the Good Brother, Mike Mercado. We'll see you in the next episode of the Quarantine Files on the Mercado Airwaves
Network.
Hey guys, Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. We want to thank you so much for all the support you've given us here on the network. And if you want to see what we're up to outside of the station, please follow us all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can follow the Good Brother Alex Mercado on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. The lovely Nicole Mancha is on all social media platforms at Typing When Tipsy. You can follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Our pop culture show, The Good Brothers, on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Our true crime shows on Instagram at Murder, Mysteries, and More. And of course, like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all our videos on YouTube.com/Mike Mercado 2333 or by searching Mercado Airwaves Network. We play video games on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. And of course, you can support our network by finding a tier just for you, whether you want early access, you want to be part of polls, you want to win contest prizes, by visiting us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And we really appreciate it wherever you get your favorite podcast to like, rate, review, and share us. And please spread the word. For the Good Brother, Alex Mercado, for the lovely Nicole Mancha, I'm Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for all the support you've given us here on the network.